Hey, what's up, and welcome back to another episode of the Relationship Schools podcast here, where we teach you how to be yourself in the context of a relationship and get what you want. Imagine that, people. A future where you can be true to your integrity and who you are and be loved and accepted. Now, that doesn't mean there won't be fighting, disagreeing, and a process and a journey, a hero's journey to get there. Of course there will be. But I'm here to assert that you can be you and get what you want. And we teach you how to do that at the Relationship School. And if you really want to go for it, you sign up for our 9-month training, Deeper, DPIR, okay? Because it can be done. I see it every day. Whew. All right. Thanks for being here. Thanks for your reviews. Oh my goodness, your reviews. You guys are so kind. Keep the reviews coming. You guys are really, really awesome. So thanks. Here's what Sarah says. This podcast has been a catalyst for such meaningful and powerful growth for me in my personal and professional life. It both inspires and facilitates real changes in my life. So therapeutic and even mind-blowing at times. Hell yeah, Sarah. Thanks. Very cool. Okay, how about Monkeyback says, I'm the one you say wouldn't be listening to your podcast. But I'm learning, I'm trying, and I'm holding myself accountable to be a better person. Nice. Thank you. Boom. 5 stars. Thanks, guys. Again, feel free to rate it. It's the swipe of a thumb to give us 5 stars. If you actually want to comment, it's even cooler because you can say what your favorite podcast was. I'll keep these coming in. I'll keep reading these. Thank you again. All right. In this episode, it's a shorter one with just yours truly. I want to talk about something I love to talk about. And people like to argue with me here, and I it's okay. I like to argue back sometimes. Relationships end in 2 main ways, okay? One is one of you outgrows the other person. 2, one or both of you can't handle yourself or the other person. Now, this is coming from 20-ish years of experience with people and relationships ending. You could say, yeah, but we just stopped having sex. Or, yeah, but I just, I got bored. Or, yeah, but it was abusive. Or there's a lot of comments you guys have dropped in the monogamy group, Smart Couple group, on Facebook, which I appreciate all of you guys. So I'm going to reflect on a few of you folks that pushed back on this one, okay? As a way to unpack this, okay? And again, I just want you to consider that relationships end not in hundreds of ways, but really it boils down to 2 things, okay? And yes, Jeremy and others, death is another one, okay? Of course, I didn't include that. So we could say 3 ways if we include death. When someone dies, the relationship's over. Yes, true. So good catch there. But if we stick to one of you outgrows the other person, let's talk about that for a minute. Okay, this can be, some of you arrogant types might think, yeah, I'm growing and my partner's not, so that's why it ended. That might be true. There might be another layer here where if you and I are in a relationship and we are having a hard time and we're fighting and you won't come to therapy or coaching with me and I will do the work. It has nothing to do with being a better person. I am just as neurotic as you are, okay? But the difference is I'm going to go get help and I want to work on it. And I want to say, we got to move to the next place. I'm tired of being stuck in no sex, too much conflict, challenges with parenting, whatever our stuck challenges are. If you don't want to really do the work with me, I will outgrow you and move on because I want to be in a relationship where the other person, you in this case, is rolling up their sleeves with me and saying, let's do it. Let's go to the next place together. And I am not going to sit around for years and not live into my potential because you want to stay stuck in a mediocre relationship where we never work on it. No, thank you. Okay, so I will outgrow you. And this happens every day, folks, in relationships where one person is on the move, and if the other person doesn't get their shit together, they might be left. And just because you get married doesn't mean you should stay married to a person who is stuck. If you can lovingly figure it out, that's okay. We all get stuck. I've been stuck for a long time sometimes. So I'm not saying leave stuck people. I'm saying evolve. Evolve over time, both of you. If one of you is evolving and developing and the other is not, it's just not going to work. Now, you have to examine this closely. If the other person is developing themselves and growing, but in a different area, say business or health or something, they are growing. So are you necessarily outgrowing them? Probably not. They're maybe outgrowing you around health, some other area of life, right? So again, we have to just be honest with the kind of growth. People who want to just watch Netflix and stay at the same routine job for 40 years and never look in the mirror, they're on a program and they've become kind of a robot in their life. That person, if their partner is growing, they will probably get left behind. Yeah. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, one or both of you can't handle the other person or yourself. What do we mean by that? Well, at the relationship school, we teach you how to handle yourself, which is your own activation, your own projections, your own acting out, your own shutting down, your own attachment style, how to handle that. Okay, you got to learn how to handle your triggers and your upset, your emotions. You got to learn how to take responsibility for your behavior. If you can't do that, and you consistently demonstrate you can't do that or won't do that, and the other person is doing that, this relationship will eventually end. Right? Now, what's this comment about handling the other person? What does that mean? What I mean there is you've got to learn how to handle the other person's neurosis, emotions, acting out, behavior, etc. You're married to them. You're partnered with them. You're in a long-term committed relationship with them. So it's in your best interest to learn how to handle them. If you see me visually here on YouTube, you can see my hands is like handling them kind of like a hot potato or a hot pan or a big bag of compost or shit. It's like I got to learn how to hold it, which is hold you and all your stuff. All right? I was just working with a couple where one of them said, hey, you got to learn how to handle yourself. And it's like, actually, that's true, but you've got to learn how to handle them also. Okay, if you come from the lens that Ellen and I come from, we are practicing learning how to handle each other. And by that means, again, I mean how to be there and care for another human being. Yeah. And you all are difficult like me. And you can be hard to handle sometimes, like me. And sometimes you are like a little porcupine or a cactus, and you're prickly and hard to hold. That's okay. Just because I get that way doesn't mean you should leave me. It means you're going to need to learn to put some gloves on and to say the right thing and behave in a way that has my porcupine quills retract and come back in. And so I can be soft and mushy again, right? So that's what we mean by you got to learn to handle yourself and the other person, okay? And when you don't do that, the relationship will eventually end. And this is what the Gottmans talk about as contempt. This is what Stan and Dan and many others I've interviewed talk about as if you can't work through conflict and handle the activation in the couple, in the dyad, in the system, that's going to lead to divorce. It's going to lead to eventually the relationship ending. And I would say the vast majority of relationships end because of an inability or unwillingness to work through the activation in the nervous system. All right, I've said this many, many times. Okay, so I'm asserting, again, two main ways. So if we look at Deb's comment in the group here, she says, one of you recognizes the abusive nature of the relationship, and in order to save yourself, you get out. Okay, what would that fall under? That falls under, I can't or won't handle you. Okay, if you're being abusive to me, I'm not only going to outgrow you because I'm not abusing you, but I'm going to, I choose not to handle someone who is abusive or violent, right? I'm out. Okay, so that would fall under either one of those. And Anthony, yes, you and Jeremy, death, exactly. Linda says, disagree with the wording. Cannot handle the other person, or is it their behaviors, thinking drugs, abuse, cheating, porn, etc., and have the couple been to individual and couples therapy to work through underlying trauma issues and family systems, emotionally? In other words, have they done the work to know they gave it their all? Well, I would call that burnout. All right. So that falls under number 2. Like, I can no longer handle myself. I'm so exhausted. I can't be in this relationship anymore. I'm out. Or your drug addiction, your porn addiction, your behavior is too much for me. I can't and won't handle it. I'm out. So that falls under number 2. Okay. Falling out of love, Emily says. Okay, this is usually a red herring, by the way, falling out of love. Falling out of love usually is a symptom later on that's, the roots of it are number 2 or 1. But usually what I see is people never learn to fight, never learn to work through conflict. They don't know how to deal with it. They harden around their heart. The person slowly becomes unattractive or not interesting anymore. And because of their hardened heart, they claim they fall out of love. I would just claim you have guarded your heart. It's not about you falling out of love. It's you being bitter and bored because you never learned how to really open and work through the painful stuff. Falling out of love isn't really a thing. A lot of people think it is. I used to think that. I just never really was feeling it. That was all a red herring for my fear. I never let myself actually drop deeply into the love space and the really vulnerable, intimate space early on, right? Yeah, so just watch that tendency to say, if someone tells you, like, I'm in love with you, but I don't love you. I've done a podcast on that in a blog post. Google that, okay? All right, let's see if there's any more. And saying, I agree on both. I did number 1, ended my marriage because I outgrew him and I wasn't in love and I wanted to leave my present husband at a time when I feel I can't handle him because he's a functioning alcoholic. But I stay because I need to do my own work of letting go of my control, wanting him to change so he can do his work. I just want to love him. That's pretty cool, Anne. Very mature of you. Okay. And then Sheila's saying, I did 1 and 2. I did 1 when I left and divorced, and then 2 kicked in, and as I heard it on his, sorry, I'm going to have to delete that. Can't understand that one. Crystal's saying, relationships just don't die. Most people leave because they feel unliked, unloved, or disrespected. Exactly. Relationships require work, and it's a choice to let them die. Yeah, I like that. Love is a choice. Yeah, so there's some good ones in here, guys. Let's see if there's any others. Anyway, thanks for playing and participating. Fun to get your take. And then Michael says, 1 is too general and it can mask projection, flying under the banner of simply outgrowing them. Yeah, some people use that and they're like, oh, I'm just outgrowing you. I think I spoke to that, sort of the arrogance. Number 2, too general to the point of not having something tangible to take responsibility for and work with, even acknowledge. Well, again, I think I've spoken to that here, that we're getting very specific. Like, you can't handle if you can't handle your partner getting upset about things, you, life, their family, and you can't hold them in their pain, that's you not handling them. If all I do is blame you and the world when I get triggered, that's me not handling myself, okay? And if I blame you all the time, that's why a relationship would end. You're going to eventually really dislike me if I'm blaming you all the time for everything. That's me not handling myself, and that's you not handling me, and me not handling you. Thus, the relationship ends. Okay. Again, most people don't do both parties do the deep, true work before the relationship ends. Yeah. Okay. And when they do, like, I'll meet people that are like, yeah, we've worked on this marriage for 10 years straight, therapy every week. It's like, yeah, you never cracked the code. You never figured out how to handle yourself or them. And now you're so bitter and tired, you're done. Makes sense. Be done. And again, remember, as always, like in my divorce podcast a couple podcasts ago, there's no moral judgment about leaving is bad, staying is good. I don't really care if you stay or leave. I want you to be fulfilled. I want you to be empowered in your relational life. All right? Okay, and we're just saying these are two of the most common reasons relationships end. So be honest if this is going on with you. I think just knowing this, I think, is empowering. Okay. As usual, come apply to our training. We are about to start. We're very close to starting. relationshipschool.com/DPIR. There's still a couple of spots left. Remember, you have to interview. We want to make sure it's a good fit. And we start at the end of January, early February. Another round. We'll be going for it. And then you're still welcome to apply, but you've missed this boat, and you'll be catching us in the fall. Okay? All right. Thanks to everybody who came out for the coaches training webinars. Those were a lot of fun. Thanks to Adriel and Heather and others that participated. Thanks, guys. And for all your reviews, make sure you subscribe on YouTube also. And if you want to join the community to have a conversation about this, please do so. relationshipschool.com/community. We'll take you right to the Facebook group. Hey, thanks so much for listening. Relationship School fans and Smart Couple listeners, please subscribe to this YouTube channel, all right? Do us a favor, subscribe, share one of these videos with a friend, all right? We want to help the planet get their act together around relationships, and you are one of them, so thank you.